All right, we're live on Facebook here. It was our intention to get going sooner. So if you guys are waiting for us, apologies for the delay there. As always, very grateful, very thankful to be here. And we've got a screen share today because we're going to be sharing what we have going on for. Let's go make this live just to see. Cool. Yeah, we're going to be screen sharing what we got going on for today. So I want to do a couple things here. That will be one to open, and then I'm also going to open up. One other thing, I'm just showing you guys some different things today that are very simple to find. What I'm going to teach is something that I've learned from other people who have spent a lot of days, hours, months, years in financial literacy and really worked hard to what would I say? Really worked hard to get to where they want to be. Well, get to these topics that I'm going to teach. And they've put a lot of effort in there. They've spent a lot of time with this as well. And so I'm learning and I'm sharing something with you guys off of the hard work and progress and success of others. And so with that being said, what I'm hoping to do is have this all ready for you. I was hoping to be here a little bit sooner, and I also thought I'd be able to search that I was looking for. Let's go maybe. Oh yeah, it's not gonna work. Darn. You guys will appreciate this though, I think. I just wish I had the one I was after. Up and ready. Pays to prepare ahead of time, even when you think your schedule is going to allow you to hit where you need to be. There are those seasons. Learn from me. If there's anything I can teach you here, there is those seasons where you think you can prepare and still not be ready for what you need. I just wish that this would give me what I needed. As far as might have to go to the internet for this to get this to work. Okay, so what we're talking about today is becoming free of debt. So I'm going to put down a few things here, a few clarifications, if you will, or some disclaimers too. I think that'll be good. So first and foremost, the idea here is amortization schedule calculator. I think that'll be good. Hopefully that'll help me get what I want. Okay, cool. Excellent. So I can use this as my source. That should be good, google.com. Enough to give you guys an example. The other thing that I want to do is student loan federal interest rate. Is there a number that I can get? 4 point. Okay, we'll just use that. The basics. Okay, so first and foremost, I got this from someone else. I learned this from someone else. And it has already provided results for my wife and I. We utilize this that I'm going to teach you guys. I'm going to share with you with $22,000 of debt. I've talked a lot about this on my channel before, mentioned it a number of times, and so now I'm getting to it very specifically in the context of of what that's about. $22,000 in the course of a year. We utilized a particular tool that moved us from one area to another. Um, and it's going to be exactly the same thing that I'm going to share with you guys today, just in a different tool. The method, the idea is still the same, nonetheless. And I want to let you guys know it's typically a crucial to give this, or necessary to give this anytime you're sharing anything financially or business wise. It might be a concept. It's very important to give the disclaimer that I am not a financial advisor or fiduciary. I am not legal counsel. I am not a CPA. I'm not trained in any of these things. So if you're specifically looking for those kinds of questions, you need to talk to your CPA, your financial advisor, fiduciary, or legal counsel if you need to. Now, in the context of this, legal probably doesn't apply, but the financial side, your CPA definitely for sure. But I have to very specifically say that in the nature of what I'm going to share with you. That being said, this stuff is really cool. This that I'm going to share with you is something that we don't get taught in school. This isn't something that anybody talks about. I've never heard about this until I got exposed to this particular company that provides this kind of education with the community and the masterminding that takes place around this, and how it can be applied for so many different ways. But ultimately, the bottom line is that if you're looking to have some success in your finances, to find yourself in a space and place where maybe you're right now under loads of debt, you can take this and cultivate with it quite a bit of quite a lot, quite a bit. I hate to say quite a lot, but you can really cultivate quite a bit under this particular um, experience that I'm going to share with you guys here. And by that, I mean create wealth, create cash flow, protect your wealth, protect your cash flow, expand on it, teach this to others so that they can do the same, so that they can have more money available to them to do the things that they feel led to do, that they feel they want to do, to want to connect with um, other people. And we'll leave it at that. Okay, so that being said, I want to go ahead and share here really quickly my screen. Do this as quick as possible. So I just looked up what a student loan federal interest rate is. It looks like it's 4.53. If you went to a private university like me, you may have spent upwards of um, 200,000 plus. My education was about 200,000, 217, I think. I don't say that to brag. I don't say that to make it sound like my experience in college was better or worse than anybody else's. I consider myself extremely blessed to have experienced what I did in the context of college, as far as what it is that I got to experience with grants and scholarships and things like that. It came off of being in a particular financial situation with my parents, where they didn't have much to offer at all as far as my education, and also working extremely hard, doing as much as I could in every area of my education in high school to make myself a potential candidate to be able to go to the school that I did to get to go to. And with that being said, I just shared with you what my amount of money that I spent for education was. I got away with only $4,500 in debt, deferred. So it wasn't going to start until graduation, and I forget what the interest was on it. It isn't what it is today, but I don't recall what it was then. I wish I would have remembered specifically. But student loans are charged with amortization, just like a mortgage. So if you want to look it up, you can look up amortization versus simple interest or compound interest. Some different terms that I'm going to use. And I just want to throw that out there, that it's important that if you don't know what those things mean, please go and take a look at that. So, you know, my interest, I don't know what the years were. I think it's kind of a pay until you're done scenario. Um, 4.53. So let's just say it's taken me, yeah, that payment looks about right. I think the payments were a little bit less, say 25 years. Okay, so maybe 20. The payments I think were like $45. So maybe if I back this out. Okay, so maybe 15 years, but I would have been paying on that sucker for a long time. And the interest I would have paid on it would have been 1708. Not a lot of money, but let's say you were one of my classmates who added a zero to this figure. Uh, and had to calculate this. Now we're talking about $345 and $17,000 on of interest on top of $45,000 in the principal they paid for their education. That's how an amortized schedule works, is that you get charged a premium for having another company hold the principal amount, the amount that is paying for the education or the car or the house. For example, let's say you're in the Midwest and you're going to get a $65,000 house on a 30-year mortgage. Let's see, what's a um, mortgage? Let's say national average for mortgage rates. Let's see what comes up. The average for a 30-year fixed is 399 with actual offered rates ranging from 313 to 784. So let's say you have good credit. The bank considers you a reasonable risk to give you the average of the country 399. Um, okay, and so on a $65,000 house, a 30-year term with an interest rate of 399, you could expect to have, it looks like, around $309 a month for your mortgage. Of course, that principal for that house is 65. Now, here's the thing that's interesting. You see this number here? That is the amount of interest you're going to pay on that $65,000 house. So in addition to the $65,000, you're going to pay an additional $46,000 just in interest. And that's literally how mortgage loans work. If you did not know this, I encourage you to look further into this as far as how amortization works, how mortgages work, because this literally is, if you paid that every payment for 30 years and you got to the end of it, you would effectively get to paying, let's see, 65 and 46. That's over $100,000. 65,000 plus 46,580, 32 if you want to be exact, $111,580.32 for a house that is $65,000. And if you're in the Midwest, appreciation is probably going to be nice and steady. So over the course of those 30 years, you might see some reasonable appreciation. So I don't know, house might be 70, 75,000, maybe 80,000, unless it's an area that booms and you get incredible appreciation. But if you don't put any additions into it, it doesn't appreciate based on the market. You just paid way more than what the house was worth. Um, so and here's the other interesting thing. We all know about refinance. Well, the average period of time for refinancing on a mortgage is 7 years. And when you refinance, you start this amortization schedule all over. So you start back at the beginning. And what banks will do is they'll say, hey, do you have student loans? Do you have car? Do you have credit cards? Do you have any other debts? We'll consolidate it, which they do. I don't mean to necessarily say they're not, but they do consolidate it. However, what they do is they take all of those balances and they put it into your mortgage on a refinance. So they might say, hey, we'll move you from a 399 to a I don't know, 249, and you're, oh, excuse me, not 249, a 399 to a 349. You're like, holy crap, I'm saving 0.5%. And the payments would be would be great. But then let's say you pay down your mortgage a little bit, maybe you were at 60, or let's just say 55, and you had on top of that 55,000 plus your 5,000 left on your balance, plus 15,000 on the car, plus 25,000. It's going to take all that money and it's going to amortize that as well. So now you're paying on an amortized schedule those debts versus the schedules that they were on previously, which if you do the math, you might find that you're actually going to pay more in interest than you were before. Now, a car note can apply the same, typically amortized. It's a set payment, but they still front load the interest or the fee for being the ones that hold on to the financial burden of you utilizing that whatever it may be, the house, the car, whatever. It's not an asset unless it makes you money. So if it is not making you positive cash flow, it is a liability. So your house technically, unless it does produce you money, technically your house is not an asset. Technically, your car is not an asset unless it produces positive cash flow, meaning your income and your expenses and the net of those is positive. Okay. So I want to point that out. So, okay, Ryan, great. You just gave us a financial lesson or whatever you just gave us. So what's the point? Well, if that's what takes place and you're looking at paying, I mean, 65 grand in the Midwest is nothing compared to what we have here. For example, you can see 797,500 is how much is what properties cost here. I don't know what the interest rate is. Let's just say we get the national average. So on a property that's worth a little over $750,000, we're going to be paying 500, half a million on 750,000 in interest for that house in 30 years. Uh, ouch, 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 ouch. And you just said it wasn't an asset, it's a liability, meaning it's not making us any money in the course of those 30 years, which it's a consumable, um, unless it is somehow paying you, which if it's not a rental or some kind of asset of a real estate um, vehicle to you, where it's a model, excuse me, it's a business that's producing income. You're paying all that out. Yeah, you get your write-offs and different things, but that's not going to do much for you in the context of interest. And I believe property tax is included in that, so you're barely writing off your property tax. So again, we're getting into some specifics here that I don't want to dig into. I just want to share with you guys the concept. So let's say, for example, I'm going to switch over here. There, if you want to now, what I said I was going to share with you guys is not what I didn't say to you is that what I'm going to share with you as far as becoming debt free. This isn't Dave Ramsey where we're doing debt snowball. This isn't the pay the 13th payment at the end of the year, right before the turn of the year, to accelerate the payment down. This isn't um, it isn't anything like that. It isn't pay an extra payment to pay it off quicker. The purpose of what we're doing today is two things. One, to accelerate the process of getting you to positive cash flow or gaining back your cash flow from whatever debts may currently be taking cash away from your overall cash flow. So again, income in minus expenses, whatever's left over is your cash flow. Hopefully that's positive or breaking even. This that I'm going to show you doesn't work if it's negative. If you're negative, time to budget, time to change some things up so you can get to breaking even or positive. And once you get there, then you can use this. What this is getting you back or getting you additional cash flow. And number two, looking to reduce the amount of interest that you pay. Now we use the words interest saved, but effectively what we're saying or what I'm saying here is that it's interest that you're not going to have to pay because you're speeding up the process of paying down the principal amount. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So let's say we have a student loan. Okay, student loan of 30,000. Okay, let's say we have a car that's 15,000. Let's say that we have a some credit cards that are effectively, mm, let's see, what's the average national average amount of credit card debt? 6,194. So let's say we have $6,194 in credit card debt, and we have some medical medical bills as well. National average amount of medical debt. 10,000 a year. Let's see, medical bill debts and costs. The average U.S. consumer spends more than 10,000 a year on healthcare. That's 50% more than consumers in other countries. Of course, that's a very difficult topic in general, politically as well. I'm not here for the politics. I'm just here to talk about how we can address this effectively. The student loan was oh shoot, that was 4.53%. Card note, national, let's see, credit cards, we'll just say an average 20.5%, because those credit cards are up there. I've had credit cards upwards of 26 and 28. We've got car. So now let's see, what's the interest rate on a car loan? National average 5.27 for an auto loan in 60 months. 5.27. And then medical bills, national average interest rate on medical bills. Let's see here. Interest charge usually doesn't have any interest rate attached in the original contract, so the collector cannot apply interest. Securities took a part of the original contract. Can the debt college change interest, medical debt? I don't know. I guess that's something I should double check. I thought it was. Let's just say there's a very small percentage, 0.5%. Okay. That is something I need to go back to and look at. I believe, if I'm not incorrect, I believe medical bills at some point in time can have interest. So we got a lot going on here. And what for time, I want to just go ahead and, if you happen to have a mortgage, we might have to do a part 2 for this, because what I wanted to do was keep this relatively quick, and I'm already 20 minutes in. So let's just say we have a mortgage. We have 50,000, and that's at 3.99. Okay, and I'll save this for next time. So original balance, let's say we did do that 50,000. We paid 15 for the 65. So we paid $15,000 of our own money for a house. We have a balance of 50,000. Let's say we're in it now at 45,000. The interest rate is 3.99%. The term is 30 years. Let's say we're at 27 at this point. And the payment amount, if we go to amortization schedule, we'll see that the payment is about $252.32. $252.32. Okay. And so what we're going to teach you is a method called velocity banking, or an accelerated manner of paying down debt. And the goal here is utilizing amortized debt, which is the loan in this case, and then also using a different tool, let's say a credit card, a line of credit, or something else that has an interest rate that would be effective to paying this down. Okay, so we'll be able to pay it off quicker and also save interest. So let's say we're able to secure, you could do an unsecured or a secured line of credit. Let's say we do $10,000 on a 9.99%. Actually, let's say our credit isn't that great. Let's say we're at a 13.99%. Ooh, not 13. That's a lot. Here we go. Okay. And we're averaging a $4,500 a month income with expenses at 3,500. I'm just kind of putting random numbers in here. Okay. And there's something it's calculating. Looks like it's calculating at the moment. So hopefully it'll calculate for me. Pull up where we're at. So let's see here. What are we missing? Why is this not pulling up for me? I hope that I'm able to provide this for you guys because I would feel really bad to not have had this set up here. 27 payments that 2013.99. Yeah, start date is today. Okay. Yep. So this should give me a proper number here. I'm not sure why it's not doing that. Well, that's unfortunate that it's doing that because I was really hoping that I'd be able to do this for you guys. Yeah, so the idea behind this effectively is that utilizing utilizing a account that has insurance that is not insurance, interest rate that is much less than, well, let's not say it that way. Its effective amount is applied differently. So if we're working with an amortized loan, we want to do something that would have a lower interest rate, maybe in a compound setting with zero interest rate, perhaps, or a simple interest. And with that, it would help so much to have my numbers to work here for me. For whatever reason, unfortunately, this isn't working for me. And that's the most unfortunate part about this. Um, Ultimately, what I'm trying to get to is that with this, the amount that we're going to take is we're going to take that $10,000 and we're going to apply it to the principal amount of, say, the mortgage, which is going to reduce our principal amount of that mortgage, right? So we were at 45. It'll speed us up now to 35, which will move us up in the payment schedule for that property, which is going to also reduce that period. We're going to effectively uh, uh, pay forward this note, this mortgage, so that it's in a new place along the amortized schedule. If you haven't seen an advertised schedule curve, I would suggest checking it out. But what it effectively does is it reduces the amount of interest we would have paid, hence saving us in interest. And now, all the while, we're using that line of credit or whatever else it is as our checking account, paying it off, paying it off, paying it off, expenses in, money in. And soon, if we're operating in a positive cash flow or even just at breaking even, eventually that's going to pay itself off, right? So we'll be back to the full amount in that account we used, speed it up to that point in time. We can take that 10,000 again and apply it to the balance, whatever's remaining. And over time, we're going to get to zero on both the mortgage and the line of credit, secured, unsecured, the credit card, whatever we're using to chunk this down, so to speak. So in essence, what we've effectively done is we've taken 27 years and we've reduced it to what might be 5 or 6 years. And we've also saved a substantial amount of interest. In this case, it's probably going to be in the four to five-ish figure amount. If I had something to calculate this here for me, it would show up. But for some reason, there is an error that's coming up in this table. So I I can't share it with you guys, but it does work. And the reason why I know it does is because my wife and I have done this before. We were able to use a consolidated loan, taking multiple credit cards that were compounded interest with anywhere between 20 and 28% interest, put all of those collectively into a consolidated loan with a much more favorable interest rate. And with that, pay against that with all tenacity. And we actually took that plan that was going to be either 3 or 4 years. And with keeping that focus, we were able to reduce 21, almost $22,000 from 3 years. Would have been 25 to 30 years with thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of uh, compounded interest down to $21,000 with some interest in a year's period of time and getting it paid off in 12 months. So now what we're doing is we're looking at 43 grand, same concept, except for this time we'll do a line of credit. And what's really cool about this is that most importantly, we're going to apply it not all collectively at once, but one account at a time. And we're just going to see those go. We're in the process of it. We're utilizing whatever cash that's extra to pay against it, and we're also leaving some in the account or in our accounts for a safety net as well. And what I'll do again is I'll come back and explain this again. I'll have it all prepared, all written up and ready to go. So it's more of an explanation versus going through it. I can speed that process up so it's clear. But ultimately, what I wanted to do was, at the very least, create some curiosity here about paying down debt in a different way. Is the debt snowball a bad idea? I don't think so. I think it's a great way to do it. Is a paying an extra payment or a little bit above what your payments are a bad idea? No, I don't think so. And in those contexts, it will definitely help you. But if you want to increase the time at which you get to zero or increase your cash flow, and also get to uh, a point where you're having to pay less in interest, then you may want to come back and see more of this. Okay. If you would like to see something much more condensed, something that is succinct and to the point, I can give you that as well. I have it. I wanted to teach it. Unfortunately, my tool wasn't working for me here. So I apologize for that. But ultimately, I wanted to give you this as out of curiosity. It's to spark your curiosity to expand your imagination a little bit and see what's possible in the context of becoming debt free. All right, so that's it for today. We'll see you guys again next week, Monday, this time, 6:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time was the time we're going to start. We had a late start today, but that's when we plan to come back. And we'll do a follow up from this Monday. We did have some content there that we were going to take further into next Monday. So until then, I hope you guys have a great day, great rest of your week, and an excellent